It was Halloween one year and we were handing out candy to the little undeserving bastard shits that knocked on our door. This one fat ginger bitch knocked on the door and of course she chose the biggest candy bar in the bucket and she said she wants another one. I said, listen here you tubby orange bitch, you get one fucking candy bar, you don't look like you need another one. She grabbed another candy bar from the bucket and started laughing at me and I said to her, if you weren't in a costume I would think you were the grand pumpkin you giant orange bitch. She took her shoe off and threw it at my face, and that's when I lunged at her and tackled her off the balcony. I started pulling at her orange haystack hair and she started screaming for her dad. Her dad dragged me off the little ginger bitch and he yelled at me saying who the hell beats up a 7-year-old. I said me you old twat and I took her entire bucket of candy and walked inside. The cops came over and I started fake crying saying she attacked me first and I was defending myself, and my dog was agreeing and defending me. The police went to the tubby ginger thot's house and shot it up. That's what you get for messing with me you expanded Ed Sheeran looking bitch.
When I was in high school my cousin was obsessed with Ariana Grande and she had many fan accounts. She didn't like me and my other cousin. As a way to try and become her friend we created an entire Twitter persona named Ana Gonzalez who was a very rich 15-year-old girl from Miami, Florida. We slowly became friends with my cousin and began to chat every single day. She considered me one of her best friends. This went on for 8 months and then my cousin and Ana Gonzalez got in an argument that changed everything. My cousin blocked Ana Gonzalez and never talked to us again. However, we had already created this online persona and gained a large following of other Ariana Grande fans, so we kept Ana alive and ended up catfishing a few thousand others. We finally told my cousin about this 2 years after it happened.
One night when I was 14 I snuck my parents' liquor and got so drunk out of my fucking mind and I completely forgot I had a hair appointment the next day. My mom woke me up the next morning to get ready for my appointment and I felt perfectly fine until the car ride to the salon. I began to get the worst pounding headache I've ever had and I felt like I was going to throw up but I had to hold it in. I eventually couldn't take it anymore and threw up in the parking lot in front of the salon 3 times. I also continued to throw up throughout the rest of the day. My mom obviously was very concerned about me throwing up out of nowhere and was convinced I had coronavirus. Little did she know I was just having the worst hangover I have ever experienced to this day because I drank way too much. Like let me tell you woo Chile it was bad, but she couldn't know that or else I would get my ass beat so I went along with it. I faked being sick and stayed 6 feet apart from my family members for 2 weeks straight. I also heated up my forehead before I got my temperature taken to make sure it always came out as a fever. I was so dedicated to this shit you don't even understand. One day my older sister was crying very loud in her room and I was concerned. I walked in and asked her what was wrong. She had just received news that her boyfriend cheated on her while he was out of town. So being the good little sister I am, I wanted revenge on her cheating ass now ex-boyfriend. We had a plan to sneak into his house and replace his shampoo with Nair hair removal cream. It was risky but we were willing to do anything for revenge. We called his mom and told him he cheated on her and she was disappointed in him. We told her we wanted revenge and the mom was all for it. My older sister drove me to his house when he was gone and his mom was there. She let us in the house and we dumped out his shampoo and conditioner bottles and replaced both bottles with the hair removal cream and left. Later that night his mom sent us a video of my sister's ex-boyfriend running out of the bathroom screaming and crying naked because all his hair had fallen out after his shower and his head was burning, and my sister and I laughed our asses off and I laughed so hard I peed my fucking pants. Never mess with our family period. Haha hash fuck you Dylan for cheating on my sister. Do you guys remember how in March there was a huge shortage of toilet paper and you couldn't find that shit anywhere? Well, one day my mom and I decided to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning so we could be the first at Walmart and snatch that toilet paper so we could finally wipe our asses. We were 10th in line outside of the store before opening. Once they let everybody in, people stampeded towards the toilet paper of course. It was like Black Friday up in that bitch. The toilet paper aisle was so jam-packed that one crazy-ass Karen bitch pushed another crazy-ass Karen bitch out of the way and she fell on her ass. Then the bitch started swinging on the other bitch and one of them got slammed to the ground and she was getting her ass beat. Then the bitch that was beating the other bitch's ass started slamming her purse into her head. Everyone backed away from the 2 crazy-ass bitches fighting each other. I thought to myself, it's too fucking early for this shit. I screamed yeah get into it at the top of my lungs and my mom pulled my fucking hair and dragged my ass out of the store and asked what the fuck was wrong with me. Security broke up the 2 bitches fighting. I'm chilly anyway, so if you were wondering, no, we did not get any In 5th grade I accidentally poisoned my teacher. It was April Fool's Day and my dumbass was like, oh okay, let me prank my teacher. So I went and bought a donut and covered it in baby powder so my teacher would think I was giving her a powdered donut. I didn't realize the baby powder was literally 10 years old and would poison her. I thought it would just be a funny prank. So I went to school and gave my teacher the donut. As soon as she takes a bite out of it she starts coughing and choking and she starts turning purple. And everyone started looking at me like, this bitch did not just poison the fucking teacher. So after like 5 minutes of her struggling with the donut she finally swallowed it. Then I told her I had covered the donut with poisonous baby powder and she said she was going to hold me back but I wasn't going to be punished. To make a long story short, she called my parents, didn't let me be a helper for field day and told all the teachers and administrators, and they never looked at me the same. I used to have this art teacher and everyone hated her. She was the biggest bitch, like she was literally so mean and strict, and for what? What was the reason? Anyways, one day she was really testing my limits and she had the motherfucking audacity to rip up and throw away a project I worked on for a week because she said it quote unquote wasn't good enough and that I never even try in her class. Even though I worked so hard on it and I did the best I could. I was mad at her for saying I didn't ever try and that my work wasn't good enough for her, so I was thinking to myself, shut your bubble gum dum dum skin tone chicken bone Google Chrome no homo flip phone disowned ice cream cone garden gnome extra. Chromosome metronome dimidome genome full blown monochrome student loan. Indiana Jones overgrown Flintstone X and Y chromosome friendzone Sylvester Stallone Sierra Leone AutoZone friendzone professionally seen silver patron big headed ass up. And out of anger I grabbed my backpack and said no, I am gonna leave. My way or the highway. And I stormed out of that ugly bitch's class and flipped her off on the way out. I deadass ran out of the school and walked all the way home since I lived close to the school. My mom asked me why I was home early and I told her what happened and she was surprisingly proud of me. So proud that she took me out for ice cream. I was suspended for 3 days for doing that, but oh well.
When I was in 6th grade I had a huge crush on this boy and I asked him to the Halloween dance and he said no. I was really upset and my friend wanted to cheer me up. So at the dance she went up to him and asked if he wanted a slushie. He said yes and she said she would buy it for him. So she bought the slushie and went up to him. Before he could reach out to grab it, she grabbed the waist of his pants and poured the slushie down into his underwear. He was so embarrassed and started crying. A few months later he transferred schools. When I was in 2nd grade I hated everyone at my school because they were all bitches and bullies. A boy told me he liked me and I was so excited, but then he said it was just a prank. I was so angry at everyone and everything, so I thought it would be a good idea to get back at them. I wrote notes to everyone in my class saying things like, "You're ugly and I hope you die you nasty ass bitch," and I signed it from the kid in my class who humiliated me. I put it in their backpacks. During recess I came inside and I also put toilet paper all over the girls' bathroom and put toilet water everywhere. The next day all the kids in my class came to school crying and showing the teachers their notes. There was an hour-long assembly where they talked about bullying and all that. In the 7th grade a kid in my class was selling Reese's peanut butter cups. He sold them to like half of the school because who doesn't love Reese's? At the end of the day the dean and a security guard visited my class and randomly started searching everyone's bag. Eventually they got up to the kid that was selling the Reese's cups to like everyone. The kid was suspended for like a month and that's when we found out that there was weed in the Reese's peanut butter cups. So one time I had this friend in school and he was a jackass and we had a substitute teacher. He bet me $5 if I put thumbtacks in her coffee, you know, the old-fashioned substitute prank, so I did it and then the sub walked in and drank her coffee and we all hated that bitch. After she drank it her throat was bleeding like hell. She went to the emergency room and they gave that bitch a prosthetic throat and she died 2 months later, thank God, and we had a normal school again.
So one time when I was like 8, I had a huge crush on this boy, and every day during recess me and my friends would chase him and tackle him around the whole playground. One day I tackled him and kissed his shoulder. I don't fucking know why. And then we came back from the playground and his grandma worked at the school. And she pulled me from my class and she told me to never do that again or I would be in big trouble. I'm still terrified of her to this day. One day my toxic ex-best friend who I hated had told the class who I liked and that I stalked him every day, and this bitch also liked him too. So the next day when we went on a trip I told the teacher I had to go to the toilet, but instead I went to her lunch and put laxatives in her drink. When we were on the bus she told the teacher she had needed the toilet really bad, but the teacher said there was no toilet nearby. On the bus she was sitting next to the boy we liked. She then pulled a Nessa and shat her pants all over the bus. While things couldn't get any worse for her at this time, she started her period, so there was shit and blood everywhere. Then everyone in the class covered their faces because this bitch's diarrhea stinked so fucking bad. Then the teacher came over and the boy she liked vomited all over her cause of how bad it stinked. Now she has no friends and now me and the boy we liked are dating. Danana. Story time. So one time I was at a friend's sleepover, and there was like 10 other girls, so we were joking around. Keep in mind we had already turned off the lights, and in our sleeping bags, we started randomly playing truth or dare. So one of the girls had a boyfriend at the time. We dared her to send an embarrassing text. She was sending it and we were all laughing and screaming and stuff. And that got the mom to come down, and she's strict, so she started yelling, "We don't allow phones after 9 p.m. And I had my phone sending streaks and she tried to grab it, so I pulled it back and I yelled for her to let go of my phone. She was pulling so hard I let go and she fell backwards and hit her head on the wall. Let's just say I'm not allowed over there anymore.
One time in year 2, there was this fish who I hated so one time, I threatened to kill her, but I wasn't being literal because I was holding a butter knife. A few days passed and the head teacher brought me into her office. I was crying at the time. The head teacher brought that horrible mean fish into the office and made me apologize to her. I have hated that girl ever since.
When I was younger I was in Walmart and I was eating a tube of Pringles and I ate them while my mom paid, but I forgot to let the guy scan them, so I walked out the Walmart and the alarm went off and I just started running because I got scared, and my mom couldn't find me because I was hiding behind the newspaper things, and the Walmart people called the police because I was missing, and when I hear them show up I thought I was a criminal, so I left my mom a note on the newspaper that said I went to Mexico to start a new life and not come looking for me, and then I took off running with my Pringles and ran for like an hour, and then the cops saw me walking down the road, so they pulled over, so I started running again, and then they were using the car intercom thing and they told me to stop running. So when I did, I thought they were gonna put me in handcuffs and take me to jail, so I was crying and I slapped the officer in the stomach and tried to run again, but he just held me back, and when he asked me what happened to me and I told him, he started crying because he was laughing so hard. And he just gave my mom $2 for the Pringles and he was still laughing when he left. And that's the time I was a
When I was 4, we had 2 bunnies called Sandy and Thumper. On my 7th birthday, we had to get rid of them. I was crying my eyes out. Somebody took them away and they were at the butcher shop. And I never got to see them again. I really miss you, Sandy and Thumper.
One time at lunch my best friend wanted to make out with a boy in the bathroom and asked me to take the second girl's pass so that nobody could come to the bathrooms, and the boy's friend did the same. Then we all went to the bathroom and my friend went into the boy's bathroom, so I left her there and she said she would be back in 10 minutes. After 10 minutes I went back to the bathroom and she was still in there, so I thought she was going to get raped, so I burst in and saw my friend crying. I grabbed her arm and tried to drag her out, but then a teacher came in and detained us all as if it was a motherfucking crime scene. They told us to give them our phones and I got to go to the office, and the teacher questioned me like it was a Q&A, like, bitch, fuck off. Then she let me go and back to class and I started having a panic attack.
In our school we took lockdowns pretty seriously as we are sort of in an unsafe town. We were doing our usual classwork in math when we heard the lockdown bell go off and the principal's voice came on through the machine and said it wasn't a drill. We were advised to go under the tables and lock all the doors, but our teacher was new and she didn't think it was real. She said, "Why is everyone sitting under their desk? It's just a stupid alarm." She opened the curtains back up and the girls started crying because they were scared of what our teacher was doing. One of the guys in my class said, "Are you stupid? We are all going to die." She made him sit next to the window as punishment and she said, "I hope you get shot first." Everyone reported her but nothing happened. I'm 16 years old. And last year when I was walking home from school, I saw two little kids that couldn't be older than 9 were walking home a little bit in front of me. I assumed they were brother and sister. Anyway, me being so much bigger with longer legs, I eventually started to catch up to them. And right when I was about to turn off into my street, I noticed a car pulled up next to them and asked them to get in. My heart stopped when I heard the older one say, "But mister, we don't know you." After that I kept walking towards them and screamed out, "Lucy, Mark," because I didn't know their actual names, and they both looked at me. I ran up and said, "Guys, don't run off on me like that. Stay close." I pretended like I didn't see the car pulled up next to them and walked with them until the car drove off. They asked me who I was, but I just kept telling them to be quiet until the man goes away. When the guy left, I told them not to talk to strangers and walked them home. I explained to their parents what happened, and I don't think I've ever seen more grateful parents.
I know these times are really hard.
But if we work together as a community,
We can get through this.
Always remember to stay safe.
wash your hands.
And most importantly,
Stay at home, bitch.
bye sisters.
Bye, sisters.
Bye, sisters.
Bye, sisters.
Bye, bitch.